everybody. Welcome to Bestie Book Reviews. I'm here with my bestie, Mandy.
And I'm here with my bestie, Jessica.
So it's that time of the week. We're actually on time this week, too. It's time for us to do our...
Jessica.
Yeah, I wasn't gone. It's time for us to do our 1-minute book recs. This is where we go over all the books we read in the past week with 1-minute synopsises of each book.
All right, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're giving away free books on our channel, and make sure you hit that notification button because you're going to want to make sure that you check back later this week because we will have an extra video where we announce one of our winners for one of the giveaways.
Okay, so tell me about your reading week.
I had a good reading week. I was very busy. I read 10 books.
Oh, you did?
I did.
I'm impressed. After my big week of reading, I was like, for reading, I read 7 books, but one's a duet, so I have 6 to talk about.
Oh boy.
I know.
We never get the Mandy show.
Once in a blue moon, and it looks like today's a blue moon kind of day.
Hopefully so that means the likes don't go down.
That means you're starting. This is going to throw you off, isn't it?
Yeah, I think you should still start.
Just get your stuff together.
Okay, I am ready.
Okay, so what's your first book?
Okay, my first book is an ARC that I received. It comes out October 22nd, but oddly enough, the audio has been out for a while. I'm not sure what happened. Usually it's always the reverse, but somehow there was a mix-up and the audio has been out for a while. So you can read the book October 22nd, or you can go ahead and listen to the audio now. Okay. This is Text Appeal by Kylie Scott.
Oh, yeah, it has been out for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is about Riley and Connor. So Riley is a romance author, and she moves to this small, like, coastal town for, I think she's going to be there for like 3 or 4 months to work on her writing. And she ends up getting Connor's old phone number, which leads to his on-again, off-again girlfriend, like, repeatedly texting, and she's trying to explain that, like, this is no longer Connor's phone number, but the girlfriend is like, yeah, right, you're his new hookup, and it kind of gets a little out of hand and disastrous for her. But this also leads her into going and helping Connor's grandma, who gets stranded somewhere, which then gets Riley and Connor to meet each other and ends up with them getting into a mutually beneficial fake dating relationship situation. And I was here for it. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. I loved that she was a romance author. That was my timer.
Okay.
I love that she was a romance author, and she actually talks about some of, like, the stereotypes and with romance and how it kind of gets drugged through the mud sometimes. And I appreciated, like, a little bit of that, like, acknowledgement and reflection there because it's ridiculous.
Yep.
Anyways,
yes,
I enjoyed it.
Okay.
I've always really liked Kylie Scott, though.
Same. Yeah. Okay, so I did it. My first book is the last book in the Edens.
Good job.
We got this when we were in Seattle at Rain City. Daphne Perry gave one to everybody, so this was awesome. So, okay, so let's talk about it. So this is Sable Peak by Daphne Perry. Like I said, this is the last book in her Edens series. This is, I think it's book number 6. But this is about Mateo, who is the last of the Eden children. He was, he's a pilot, and he's been piloting bush planes in Alaska, and now he's come home. And then you have Vera, we meet Vera in the book prior to this, and she was raised extremely isolated, and due to certain events that I'm not going to give away because it'll give away that book, she's now living with the Eden parents. And she has a thing for Mateo. She sees him, like, she's just has this huge crush on him. And then one day Mateo comes home and's like, I can't be here for the Sunday dinner. I have to fly to Alaska. Apparently I'm a father. And his baby mama died while giving birth, and he has a baby. And that is where he brings this little baby home. And Vera just falls in love with the baby. But he is kind of oblivious to the fact that she's got a thing for him until one drunken night where she just looks at him and she's like, I see you. Like nobody does. Like he's talking to a girl at a bar and she just loses it. And she's like, I know everything about him. I'm in love with him. And so this is like a friends to lovers kind of situation, which doesn't really work for me, but I still give it 4 stars. I really liked this one. I enjoyed the story. I like the baby girl is adorable. And then this spans over a couple of years. Like it takes him some time to pull his head out of his butt and realize what's going on. So, all right. So,
Okay,
what's next for you?
my next book is also an ARC. It comes out on October 15th. So, Tuesday, if you're watching this on Monday. If you're watching it later, it might already be out. So, this is part of the Surviving Earth Chronicles. So, I talked about Lindsay Pogue's book last week, the Skies of
Guys of
Fire.
Fire.
And this one is Waves of Fury. I always try and get the Fury and Fire mixed up there.
I know.
So, this
I
is Waves.
Mine's sitting over there. I forgot to bring. Kay Webster mailed them to us, all of us that were in her K group. And if I would have known, I would have brought it over here.
Oh, it's okay. So
Okay.
this is Waves of Fury by Kay Webster.
Okay.
And this has Kellen. So Kellen is the brother to Knox, who's in Lindsay's book. So Kellen lives in San Francisco. He works in a big office. He's at the top of this high rise when this tsunami hits. And his food delivery guy has just shown up with a sandwich and he is not happy. The guy's late and he's like kind of cranky with him when the wave comes in. And they're at the top of the building, which is now where water is now rushing in his office window. So this immediately becomes like a very intense survival situation where they're stuck at the top of this high rise. They're like, I mean, there's a shark. I mean, it gets pretty intense very quickly. And there's a few other people that are with them. And so it kind of becomes sort of like a little bit of a found family situation while they are fighting for survival. And Kay Webster takes no mercy on anyone. No one is safe in this situation. And not only are we dealing with my timer, not only are we dealing with Mother Nature's wrath, we also have that there are a lot of very panicked people. And so other people cannot always be trusted either in these situations. And so Kellen and Tyler kind of become the leaders of their little group. And in this intense survival situation becomes a very intense romance between the two of them. Oh, I just love this book so much. So it was solid 5 stars. This world was fantastic. Very different from what I normally read, but I loved it. And so I was in their group for people who are doing the ARC. And one thing that Kay said is that if you don't typically read this is a great book to read because it's so focused on the survival. It's not as heavy on that. So a lot of it's like the fade to black situation, but I absolutely loved it.
Okay.
Loved
Cool.
it.
Cool.
I might have to start seeking out some post-apocalyptic books now.
Our next convincing.
Oh, there you go.
There
Yeah.
you go.
It is, I mean, it is intense. And then I think about like, what would I do? What would I do? Like,
That's why I think I love post-apocalyptic. And I think part of it is that there's that little bit of a little prepper in me that gets all like,
yeah.
So I'd get to mom and dad's. And then from there, we would go out into the woods. And then like, there's like this plan. And then I'm like, wait, how do I get 5 hours away to my parents if the world ends? Seriously.
I don't know that you'd want to go to where your parents live. They're too coastal.
See, that got you thinking about it. It's one of those things where I'm like, how fast can we get the trailer hooked up and get the heck out of here? You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're more in a town. I live out in the middle of nowhere. So my best bet is to hunker down.
Yeah, see? I'm assuming the border would be shut down. So it's, it's just one of those things of like, how can I get to Alaska?
I have a lot of like the prepper type stuff that you need. Not like obsessive, but I just have some of the stuff. So like I have life straws and things like that. And I was talking about it and one of my friends is like, oh, is that where you use it to like stab into somebody if you need? I'm like, no, not at all. Why would your mind even go there? Why would, like, that's not a common supply that people have. I like it so you can make drinking water from like possibly contaminated creeks and things.
Yes. The funny thing is when I have a bag out in our garage that is full of like MREs. And I don't know. I think it's because my husband hiked and camped so much in Alaska that he had MREs. I'm like, why do we have these? And then I'm like, well, if the apocalypse happens, this stuff never goes bad. So we'll just keep it out there. Like we have the solar panels and we have the generator and all that other stuff for the trailer, but like let's not. I don't want to do
scary to think about.
I think that's when we talked with Liz Hamilton about it, and she was like, you just want to go out in the first wave because, or was it Kay Webster? One of them, when we did their interview, they're like, just go out with the first wave. Don't even try to survive it. It would suck. So anyhow.
You and I grew up slightly differently though. So I think like being out kind of in the wilderness and things is not as scary to us. Like, I mean, it's definitely not like on my list of things to do. But I still live out in the middle of nowhere out on acreage. So the thought of like not having conveniences, like it's a little different.
That's what it is. Yeah, it's one of those things where we were taught, I guess now they call it homesteading, like we were taught how to make bread from scratch or maple syrup from scratch or, those kinds of things where I'm like, okay, we'll figure it out. So, yeah. Okay. Enough of that. All right. So back to the story. Okay. So the next book that I have to talk about is my duet that I read this week.
I was just saying.
What?
It's funny to me we're talking about prepping stuff and you are bringing up making maple syrup because that's a common thing that we need.
Hey, pancakes are necessary in the end of the world, and we're gonna need that maple syrup.
Sorry.
Okay.
I just couldn't stop chuckling about that.
It's just that's what I remember my mom doing that. We didn't have a lot of money growing up. I remember there'd be times when things were really tough, and so she'd make maple syrup because we didn't have enough money to go buy maple syrup. So those are like the little things that we learned how to do besides the hunting and the fishing and all that other stuff. Anyhow. Okay, so there's just things that pop into my head.
The end of the world happens. Everyone's like, we must get to Jessica's. She can make maple syrup.
Maple syrup. Not to mention the solar panels. Okay, anyhow. So
now you just put a big target on your back.
I know. Gotta find me first. So yeah, I'll be out in the wilderness with Mandy somewhere. So I have the book that I want, the next book, my duet. I just want to give a few little, I don't normally give warnings on, but I do want to I loved these books. Loved them so much. When I say they are the darkest things I've ever read, that is no joke. These were so this is Miranda Grant, and with Miranda Grant you can choose to buy off her website the ones on Amazon are a little more tame, but it's the two different versions. She's got like a softer version on Amazon. I would highly suggest the softer version off of Amazon because I don't have triggers, and there was a lot of things in this that bothered me. She is not afraid to hurt innocence. Like she's not afraid to hurt a baby in her book or someone who's pregnant, and that's really hard for me, but now I'm invested in the story and I just can't stop. And so this is going to be a trilogy. The third book will be out by the end of the year, and I will be buying the soft version, not the hard version, because there is a lot that happens in these books. But the first book is Tethered Souls, and then I think the second book is called Broken Souls. So this is in her Book of Shadows series. Right now, this is book 2 and 3 in Book of Shadows, and then the third book will come out and finish up their story. But this is Micah and Various. So this is a paranormal world where they're witches. It's kind of like paranormal mafia. So they're witches, but the witches, the vampires, and the werewolves are all in like their own little mafia groups, and they're at war at this point. Various is the head of the household. He is the capo for the witch crew. And he is they're forced into this marriage, him and Micah. It is an arranged marriage between their two families. They don't want to get married. Micah is a badass on her own. She is an assassin, like a witch assassin type situation. When you start reading this book, in the first couple chapters, something is happening with her, and we think that something really, really bad is going on. It is not what you think it is. So I'm just going to put that out there. But these guys really don't like each other. There's forced breeding in there. So there's all sorts of forced situations. But when they really start to like each other, then crap hits the fan. He betrays her. Something else goes on. And that is where our next book starts up. And it is full of angst. And it's just crazy. I gave them both 5 stars. But I'm going to caution because there is so much dark in these books. Like I was like, I think I've hit my limit. It was a lot. But the angst was so friggin' good. But it does it on a cliffhanger. And book 3 is not out yet. So this poor girl has been through hell and back and then some. So
the short that I made where I put your 5-star book recs in there, should I not have included that?
Oh no, you can include it. It was great. I think, and I've been talking with Miranda this week. I think she does a really good job of saying, you know, this books aren't for everybody, and your mental health matters, and you can always message her. She'll answer your questions about them. She's even warned me about the next one, and I was like, well, I'm invested now, so I'll just buy the soft version. But you know, just proceed with caution.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to say. But they were 5-star reads. So, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. What do you got next?
Well, my next book is dark, but it's probably like very light dark compared to what you just
compared to that. Yeah.
This is an author. I've read her before, and I really enjoyed the book I read of hers. And so I don't know why I didn't. Some people had recommended this next book that I'm going to talk about. And then I realized it was this author I'd read before. And I'm like, oh, why? Like, but you know, like it just happens. Like you just we read so much and then we get just so far away from books. And then, Anyways, so this is Saving Rain by Kelsey Kingsley.
Okay.
And oh my gosh, it was wonderful. So we have Soldier. Soldier is born to a mom who is like a teenage mom, and she puts a lot of pressure on her newborn baby that he is going to save her. And she is a drug addict, and so her parents end up raising him. And she's kind of in and out of his life as we see him like age to 13. And at 13, both of his grandparents have now passed, and he ends up back with his mom, who has still not managed to get her life together. And we kind of see things, it goes very quickly in this progression of him becoming older. But as this is going along, things are pretty rough, like growing, living your teenage years with a drug addict mom. And so he ends up making choices that are not good ones, but out of necessity. And he ends up having some severe consequences for those choices. So then we fast forward 10 years later, and he is trying to get his life back together. And he meets Rain. And Rain is a single mom, and she's not really in the relationship anymore with her kid's dad, but he like comes around and is like very abusive. And so he tries to kind of step in and help. And oh my gosh, I just loved this so much. It was incredibly heartbreaking. I felt like it was very suspenseful. It has got some very dark themes in it. But oh, it was so good. And I know I'm late to the party because it looks like a lot of people have read this and loved it. But oh, loved it so much. I almost felt like it should have been called Saving Soldier, though, because he's one of those alpha heroes where you're just like, oh, I love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have a couple of those. That's what I have next that we're going to talk about. Yeah. I love it. So did you give it 5 stars? Did you say?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You'll probably see it at the end of the year, too. Like, I mean, it was good.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Okay. All right.
Well, I'm crying about how do I pick books and how much I hate you for making me do that. Maybe we don't need to do that this year.
What? Our top of the year?
Yeah.
Oh, we need to do that. Everybody wants to see the top of the year.
My eyes will be all bloodshot and red from crying for days.
I already have a list, but I mean, I wrote the list out a week ago and now I have to alter it already. So
I started the year off like taking our top 5, and then I would add like February's to January, and then March's, and then by April I couldn't boot books out, and yeah,
it's a problem. It's a real problem. Okay, so one of the books that will probably be in my top 24 this year is one that I read earlier, and I did a reread of it. I'm going to tell you why I did a reread of it, but let's talk about it really quick. So it's named by M.L. Marion. I love this one. We're going to talk about it one more time because it's new to the year, and I got to tell you why. So I was talking with the author. She has another book that's coming out that is in the series that comes out right at that's next in line after this one. And she asked me, I was just talking about reading an arc or whatever of it. And then she was like, well, do you want to alpha read it? Because I'm trying to get it written and I need somebody else to do it. And I was like, yes, but I had to reread Named to do that. So this is about Dove and Jed. Dove is mute. This takes place in the 1890s. So she is mute. This is the book series that is based on like the 7 Brides for 7 Brothers, the Sabine women situation. So Jed's family, the men have always gone out and they've hunted their woman. They've brought them home, and then they get them to fall in love with them after they marry them and force them to do it. Well, Jed meets, well, at the time she's called Girl because she's mute. Nobody knows her name. And he decides that instead of her father, who's abused her because he has cut her throat, she's gone through trauma as a child when she was 5, and that's why she doesn't talk. He is going to take her before her father can abuse her anymore and make her his wife. And this is where he takes her to his homestead. He teaches her. She knows nothing. She's the most innocent person. I mean, just naive and innocent that I have ever read in a book. Loved this so much. So the next book is about Jed's brother. And it's, she's getting close. We're working on it here, but it's about Jed, his brother, and another person that we meet in this book who is very, she's got a lot of demons. She's had a lot of bad things happen to her. So I had to reread this because there were certain things that I needed to see. Loved it. It's still a 5-star book to me. This next one, I cannot put it down. And I'm a little worried because I'm at the point where she's almost like she's stopped writing, halfway through and she's working on it. I'm like, oh no. So these are great. This whole series is amazing. Just go pick it up. There you go. They span over lots of different generations. So.
Okay.
What you got?
Okay. Well, as we were talking about being preppers,
yes.
My next character here in this book is a canner. She makes jam.
Oh, we do that. You do that.
I love to make jam, but I will just point out my jam does not contain the things that Juniper's jam contains.
Oh.
I do not use my jam for evil.
No. Did you make jam this year? I don't remember you telling me you were putting up jam this year.
I did not make it this year. I made so much last year that I am good to go.
Okay, cool. We should have a jam day where I come down and we make jam next summer and listen to audiobooks while we're doing it.
We could do that. There's the perfect time where if you time it just right, you can get raspberries, marionberries, and blueberries at the same time. And then I just make I make my raspberry jam, my blueberry jam, and my marionberry jam. And then I'll mix and make triple berry jam and different stuff. But it's and then jam is quite the process. To get all your stuff out and everything. So it's just perfect if you can time it just right.
Yeah, it's awesome. All right, tell us about the book.
Stay tuned for more facts.
More jam.
Random that you probably didn't need to know. Anyway,
we're having a day today. All right, here we go.
Okay, so I read Eternally Devoted by Daisy Jane, and this is the 3rd book and the final book in the Twisted Sisters series. So this is Juniper. We've seen hints of Juniper. We knew that she was the jam lady and that something might be in that jam, but we didn't know what. So at the beginning of the book, Daisy Jane has a foreword where she says that even though her main character in the story is a serial unaliver, she is not writing a dark romance. It's still contemporary. There's humor in what's happening. And I know that could probably rub some people the wrong way. So you have to go into it with a different thought process. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So Juniper is twisted. She's one of the Twisted Sisters. Would I be okay with what happened in this book in real life? Absolutely not. I mean, for one, jam in the bedroom is just a sticky, disgusting mess. Also, the things that she does on the side, I wouldn't be okay with. Did I love this book? Absolutely. So Juniper has Sterling and Dash. They've been friends of hers for a while. They both have crushes on her. And there's a little bit of awakening on their part with each other as well because they're roommates. And so the 3 of them find themselves in some sticky situations together.
Ew.
I really enjoyed this book. I did, but I can understand how maybe some people might be rubbed the wrong way with it. But if you go into it with it's fiction and you've enjoyed the other books, I think you'll love this one.
Yeah, I just say ew because I'm like, is there a mattress protector? That's a lot of sticky stuff in the bedroom.
I will say she does talk about washing sheets and things. It is mentioned.
That is good. Okay, so the next book I read is another one we picked up in Seattle.
I grabbed so on it.
Yeah, I just wanted to read them. Okay, so I grabbed Waylaid by Serena Bowen. Let me do that. Okay, so this is book number 8 in her True North series. This is the story of Daphne and Ricky. So this one does have Amnesia in it. they're both working out on the farm or out on the, the ranch that they have their, they make their cider and stuff. I think it's summertime at this point, or just coming into the fall. And Daphne is the daughter to the people who own the ranch. So she and Ricky are both working out on this farm. Ricky and her had a meeting before. Like, this is a second chance romance situation. She's very upset because he acts like he doesn't know who she is. And she's like, but we've been around each other. Well, a while back, Ricky had a accident at college, at school. He was in military school, and he lost like a year of his memory. And so he doesn't remember them having a ride share. He doesn't remember the conversations that they had. He doesn't remember or know what's happened to him, but he's also got a lot of trauma. Like, he can't sleep without the door locked, and he doesn't know why. He can't sleep with other people in the room. He doesn't understand why. So there's some things that have happened to both of them while they were at college that were kind of traumatic, and they're trying to, work those things out. I gave it 3.5 stars. I kind of just got bored with this one. I wanted to love it, but it was just, it could have been my mood though, because I do like Serena Bowen. I just kind of got a little bored. So it was a 3.5. It was enjoyable, but there were just times where I was like, okay, is it over yet? So. Okay. What you got?
Well, my next book is wildly popular a while ago.
Okay.
I was floored, absolutely floored, when I went to go rate it and saw that you had also read it.
Mm-hmm.
I was floored. And then I saw that you read it several years ago, so then that made a little more sense.
Okay.
I've talked about this book. It was on my TBR a few months ago, and you never mentioned that you'd read it.
I might have forgotten. I don't know.
So it's Making Faces by Amy Harmon.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You rated it a 4.
Yeah, it's a clean romance.
It's a YA.
I know. It was a long time ago. Here you go.
Okay. So it's about Fern and Ambrose, and they're still in high school. Fern is kind of labeled like an ugly duckling, and Ambrose is like, the hot wrestling guy in high school. Everybody wants to be him or be with him type situation. And there's some side characters that I actually found myself more invested in their story than I did in the actual story. And then I was confused for a minute, and I'm like, wait, did I misunderstand what this book was about? Is it actually about this other couple? And then I don't know. I I just had a hard time like really getting into it. So Ambrose goes off to the military, and he is in an accident and comes back and is scarred. And then he apparently like liked Fern before he left, but Fern thinks like maybe he only likes her now because nobody else would like him. I don't know. I just didn't really enjoy it. I rated it a 3. It was third person, which everybody knows I don't really care for. Well, everybody, as in anybody who listens to me talk about books, but I just couldn't get into it. And then there was like this brief moment where I'm like, oh, okay. And then it was just over. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know what to say the book was really about, because I feel like other characters were more the focus.
And I don't remember much about it. I read it. I remember being on the phone with the hospital when I thought I had an infection. So it was around the time I had surgery. I was on drugs, the good kind from surgery, not those kind. But so that could be why I rated it a 4. I remember listening to it and going, when are they going to get together? Like, I was like, where's, I didn't realize it was a clean romance, but there wasn't even fade to black clean romance. They just don't do it at all. And I'll tell you why, I'll tell you something about it when we get off of here. But, yeah, I just didn't, I guess I give it a 4. You said I give it a 4. I don't know. It doesn't stand out.
I was shocked. I'm like, Jessica read this and it's YA.
It was a long time ago,
Yeah.
and I remember I listened to it. I remember that much.
So I just want to clarify, it has a ton of ratings, and they're high. Like,
yeah,
I'm off on my own boat here, apparently.
Yeah, that happens. It's all good.
Yeah.
So, okay. Next book that I read is The End of the Trilogy by C.M. Stunich. This is Venery. This is book number 3 in her For the Love of Aliens series. And it's a thick one though. This audio was so long because the audio just came out this week. So I was like, done. I have stuff I have to do. I'm gonna listen to the audio. And so basically this is Eve's story. There's 3 different mates that she's gotten herself, and it's like she can't, like, she doesn't want to have 3 different guys that she's with, but circumstances being what they are, after she's abducted from aliens with her best friend, she's stuck with these guys. Like, she has to be with one or she's going to die because they've mated. And those kinds of things. Like, the other one needs her life, or like he needs her blood. Like, it's a whole thing. There are 3 different types of aliens. I still loved it. It was really long. This one was really long. It was necessary, I think, for the story, because you had to wrap everything up. There was a lot of tentacles in this one. I'm just saying. But I gave this one a 4. The other 2 were 5s. I think overall the whole series, I'd say it was 4.5. I really enjoyed it. There's a lot more plot here in this one. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of spice in these too. Tentacles. But I enjoyed it. I gave this one a 4. I think probably because it was just long. I mean, I know it's necessary, but it just felt so long. So I also had a migraine when I was listening to it, so maybe I was just grumpy. So I don't know, but I did love it. Yeah.
So I'm, like I said, I'm in Lindsay and Kay's group for their books, and we got to do a Zoom, just those of us who read.
Yeah.
That were part of it. So, and then they did a Zoom with like anybody who wanted to join. And so in the first Zoom that was just for the people who read it, Lindsay mentioned that she has gotten 1-star reviews before in her post-apocalyptic stuff for using swear words.
But I think some of her post-apocalyptic, which I think that's ridiculous, a lot of her stuff is YA, and that might be why. It might be someone going, well,
I was just really shocked by that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is crazy.
Yeah. The sad thing is you're giving her a 1-star review for using swear words in her book, but have you ever used a swear word? Come on.
Well, I just thought, I was like shocked. I like just sat there, like I didn't even respond, like joined in on the conversation. She was just talking about it. I'm like, what? Like it just, that was mind blowing to me. I can see if it's so excessive that it takes you out of the story.
Right.
But one, she's like, it's post-apocalyptic. The world is like in chaos, and you're not going to like use a swear word. And she's like, I don't use that many. And I was like, that is just nuts to me.
Yeah, probably because they're marked as YA, and some people just...
I wonder if they maybe just had a migraine.
Like they might have had a migraine that day.
I'm like, so they must not watch TV at all, because like even like you can't watch hardly anything on TV without hearing swear words.
No, things that weren't allowed on TV when we were kids are now. Have at it. So yeah.
Okay. All right. My next book is an ARC, and it is to get you in the holiday spirit.
Okay.
So it comes out on 10/15 as well. 10/15 is like quite the day, people. Like everybody better just be ready to jump on and get their books and their audiobooks. It is like the day for books.
Like Ruby Dixon has 2 books coming out that day, not just 1. 2.
She's competing with herself.
Yes.
Wow.
So yeah.
Okay, so this is Just One More Mistletoe by Carly Phillips. It is a holiday novella. It is part of the Sterling Family series, but it is a standalone. So we have Brandy, who she just gets this promotion at work, and she's going to be moving to a different office. So like moving out of where she lives. And so she's going to the holiday party. And one of her coworkers that's like, pretty hot and all that is there. And she decides that she is going to just go for it, because she's like, I'm leaving, so who cares if like we have a one night thing, because I'm not going to be in his, I'm not going to be sharing a workplace with him anymore. And so she goes up to him, he's like under the mistletoe, and she kisses him, and then she realizes it's not Steven. It's actually Steven's. I don't know what's happening to my voice. Apparently I'm hitting puberty in the middle of this. I don't know. Instead of it being Steven, it's actually Max, who is his twin brother. And so we go from there.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. It is told in third person, But there's something about third person. If it's done right, it works. Most of the time, I don't like it because I feel like you don't feel the emotions like you do in first person.
Mm-hmm.
So third person, if the author can do it, they can. Like, I don't know. I felt emotions though in this, like, so I liked it. I was 4 stars.
Okay. All right. So this is my last book.
This is so weird.
Freaking book. Oh my gosh. Like, it started out strong and then it just. Okay, let's just talk about it.
Oh no.
So this book is called The Diary Action. It's by M.A. Cobb. And I picked it up because it's kind of a paranormal and it's dark. Oh my gosh. So this is about Danny and Sam. So Danny is a veterinarian in this town in Idaho. And
oh, I've been waiting for this review.
okay. She gets a certified letter in the mail. It's from the government saying, we have this new medicine that we think that you'd be perfect to trial on dogs with hip dysplasia. And so she's like, ooh, Sam, this hot guy who is a widow. I don't even know what we call the guys anymore. But anyhow, he's a widow. And I want to try it on his dog. He's a rancher and he's got this one dog that's young and it's supposed to like affect the DNA and like reverse some of the DNA, or reverse the aging and those kinds of things. So the dog has to have this medicine intravenously and it is done once a week and it's like a 6-hour process. And so in the meantime, they get to know each other. Then things happen because she gets a letter to cease and desist after like 3 sessions and she needs to like get rid of it. In the meantime, after the second dosage, she and her secretary and Sam, our rancher, all get really, really sick after they touch the dog's slobber. The reason why they're told to cease and desist is because all of these trials have started to change people's DNA. It's affected the humans. Now it's airborne. They're turning into werewolves. Okay. They're turning into werewolves, people. This book, honestly, it started out good. The premise was good. Like the idea for a paranormal book was good. There was just way too much sex and fluids. Like the world's ending and all you care about is banging. I don't get it. I I gave it 3 stars, and I think probably because the first half really sucked me in. The second half, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I'm so, like, I was to the point where I was skimming. I was like, I can't take another fluid-filled scene that's like half the chapter. It's just, I couldn't do it. I really liked the idea of it because it was like, we're like shifter kind of thing, but it wasn't even a shifter thing. So, proceed with caution if you choose to pick it up. It was just very interesting. So, all right, I'm out. I'm done. That's my last one of the week. Did you hear that? I said I'm out. I'm done. That's my last one for the week.
Okay.
And then there was a crash outside the room here. So
I know. Is everything okay?
I don't know. I have Jeff bringing in bins from the garage, so I don't know. He's supposed to be
like laying in the hall.
It could be. It
bins on top of him.
Oh, well, he's bringing in the Halloween decorations for the kids, and it sounded like it was like my scarecrow or something falling, which then we're going to have problems with that too. So anyhow, okay.
I've had my Halloween decorations up for a very long time.
To get Jeff up into the attic to get him down is like pulling teeth, and he doesn't like to do it. So now he'll get down decorations for Halloween and Christmas. And Thanksgiving is kind of mixed in there. And then they'll just hang out in the garage. And then he will get, like, the day after Christmas, everything goes straight back up there. Like, he just gets rid of everything. And I'm like, well, I'm not even done. Dude. But it is. It's like the kids have to beg him for weeks to pull down. Because he just, the stuff, because he doesn't like to go up in the attic. Anyway.
Okay, my next book we actually don't need to switch over and talk about. It's the book that I chose for our Halloween convincing, which is already out. So go watch that for some Halloween recs.
Yep.
So then we'll just go ahead and go to my 8th read of the week.
All right.
And this was an ALC that I got. It also comes out on October 15th. And this is called Love You Too by Stacey Travis. And this is about Ren and Beatrix or Trix. And so we have small town, we have hockey, we have second chance, we have pregnancy. Like this book just hits a lot of the good tropes here. So Trix runs into this guy who's walking his dog one day, and lo and behold, it is her former boyfriend from almost like 10 years ago, who she was madly in love with, thought like they were end game, and he broke her heart and left her for hockey, basically to go be pro in hockey. And so we see some flashbacks to their relationship and that like devastating end. And so now they're thrown back together. He confesses like that he just kind of moved back to the area. He bought a place, and she like he wants her to come look at it because she's like really into like remodeling and stuff like that. And so she goes to look at it and decides, hey, it would not be so bad to do like a one night with him, because he's like massively flirting with her and there's still that attraction and chemistry. And she's like, I'll just do one night with him and then basically tell him to F off and he'll know what it feels like, haha, type situation. But the condom was pretty old.
Oh.
Surprise. I loved it. I rated it 5 stars. It's the narrators, I hadn't heard of her. Chiclana? Hannah Chiclana? I think I said Anna, didn't I? Hannah Chiclana is what it
Okay.
looks like. And Wesley Mercer.
Mercer.
Mercer. I think it's Mercer. But anyway, really great narration. I loved it.
Okay.
Narration can make or break a story.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Next.
Oh, it's my turn again. This is
Yeah.
so exciting. This never happens. It won't happen again for a long time, I'm sure.
You never know.
Okay, next, I have another ALC.
Good Lord.
That comes out on, you guessed it, October 15th. Like, seriously, did everyone get together and, like, let's just bombard October 15th? Like, it's so bizarre to me.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is Tempting the Tight End by Lisa Suzanne. The book is already out, but the audio is coming out. So this is Desiree and Asher. So number 3 in the Nash brothers, and I have been very excited about Asher's story because he is kind of our bad boy, like player of the Vegas Aces, and the Nash brother family. So I was very excited for this one. Oh, and before I forget, it is narrated by Tom Thor and Kelsey Navarro Foster. Fantastic narration. Anytime I see Tom's name, I know I'm going to love the book. So Asher is a tight end, obviously, for the Vegas Aces, and him and oh my gosh, Desiree run into each other at a Vegas Aces charity thing, and Desiree's dad is one of the new coaches. And so she knows who Asher is, but Asher does not know who she is. They end up hooking up, and they both end up believing the other person ghosted them. And so then we kind of fast forward a little bit, and they are like, wait, we really enjoyed that time together. So things kind of continue, but then Asher really puts the brakes on it because he's like, he's gotten into some trouble. His father is horrible, horrible. Like if we ever did a video on like characters we hate, his dad, like this book would be in there for his dad. His dad is awful and has basically screwed his son over in so many ways. Anyway, oh my gosh, went on that tangent and I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, so he is trying to repair his reputation, like, and everything. And this coach, her dad, has been the first person that's kind of really like been on his side for a while, and so he's like helping him, and so he doesn't want to upset his coach and rock the boat, and so he puts the brakes on their relationship. But something's gonna happen that's gonna make it impossible for them to stay away.
Okay. All
I
right.
loved it. 5 stars.
Okay.
I had a fantastic reading week, which,
Yeah,
yes, in case anybody's wondering, October's wrap up is going to be hard.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Okay, my last one
Okay.
is an arc.
Of course it is.
But guess what? It comes out October 17th.
Oh, thank
Okay.
God. Okay.
So, Krista, Sandora, kudos to you for picking a different date.
Yes.
I don't know how it works in the author world. Like if they just kind of get assigned a date, if they get to pick their own date, like how that works exactly.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot goes into it, but I just thought it was funny. Like all these books are coming out on the same day.
Yep.
Tuesday? Is it Tuesday? I don't know.
I think Calla Reed told us one time, getting like on the top list and stuff has to do with the day it's released and how many days, like that might be why too. So
I appreciate people whose books come out on Friday so I can read them over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
if it comes out on a Tuesday, you can read it over the weekend still, right?
I would have to wait.
Okay, tell us about the book.
Yes, please, Jessica. So this is the Baseball Card Boyfriend, and this is part of the Starry Card Creek Bachelors series. So this is number 3. They can be read as standalones. This is also third person, and I still enjoyed it for the most part. I was able to stay like in the story. Maggie, it was really different from what I normally read, but I oddly really enjoyed it. When I first started it, I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna like this. This is not a good idea. But I actually really ended up enjoying it. So Maggie is broke, alone, devastated, riding a bus because she had to sell off all her possessions because to deal with some medical debt. And she just was supposed to be moving in with her boyfriend. She brings a pie and finds him doing some other chick up against a wall. And so she's devastated. She has nowhere to go. She's alone. She gets on this bus with her pie and is surrounded by drag queens on the bus who try and like cheer her up and get her like, a little bit like they're trying to help her basically. Well, she sees a dog while the bus is going stuck on a train track. So she screams for them to stop and the bus driver stops. She gets off, but the bus leaves her and she's trying to rescue this dog. Well, Christian is a professional baseball player who just had surgery and he's probably never going to get to play again. So he is spiraling, like passed out drunk. Like he's like, oh, I'm waking up on the floor. Well, that's better than the gutter, which has happened before. So he hears the train and he sees her out on the track. So he goes running out there and helps her. Well, during the commotion of all this, she hits her head and gets amnesia. He feels this instant attraction to her. And in her pocket, she has his baseball card and this lucky stone that used to belong to him. And so he feels like that this is like fate, basically. And so he takes her in while she's trying to figure out who she is and all of that. But nothing ever goes that smoothly.
No, never does.
Yes. So I enjoyed this one. It was 4 stars.
Okay. That's it, right? That's all your
I am done. I shut my book. So I hope that was all my books.
Okay, well, that was the Mandy ARC show because there was a lot of ARCs in there.
And ALCs.
Yeah. Okay.
I just gave our viewers a lot of good books to choose from that are coming out this week.
They all come out on the 15th.
Yes. Every single one of them that I talked about that were my ARCs or ALCs are all really good.
Okay.
So just pick your tropes that you found most interesting and go for it. Are you in your hockey era, your baseball, football?
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Small town.
Yep.
They're there.
They're all there. Yeah. All right, guys. So that's it for this week.
All right. Make sure you check back on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays for new videos from us and leave us a comment. How was your reading week? Are you going to pick up any new releases this week? Tell us in the comments.
Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video.